Today we're going to be talking about more variations, but this time we have joint and combined variations. What is a joint variation? It is a variation where one quantity varies directly as the product of two or more quantities. As you can see here, we have y equals to k x z, or we can read it as y varies jointly as x and z. We also have combined variation, which contains two types. We have direct and inverse, and joint and inverse. Direct and inverse variation is read as y varies x directly and inversely as z. For joint and inverse variation, we have y varies jointly as w and x and inversely as z. We'll now be translating variation statements into the equation. Here's a quick review. We have k as our constant, y as the first, and x as the second. Let's try this. V varies directly as h and inversely as the square of g. Now we must list down the values. Let's translate it. But the first thing is, which equation is this? Let's go back to our slide. Yeah, it's a it's a direct and inverse variation, which is y varies x directly and inversely as z. Now that we've found our equation, let's substitute all the values. So we have v equals k h with g squared. This is the order. I made it in this order because v is the first quantity, h is the second, with g as the third. You might be wondering, why is there 2 over here? Well, that's because square of g. When it comes to translating statements, it's important to read it twice just in case you won't end up forgetting anything. Let's try this. E varies jointly as f and g and inversely as h. Let's check which one it is over here. It is a joint and inverse variation. Next, we're going to be substituting the values for the equation. Wait, let me just write down the equation so you won't be confused. There we go. Now, let's substitute the values. So we have E, K, F, G over H. And yeah, this is how you do it with translating of the statements. Let's try solving a sample problem. A varies jointly with B and C. If A is equal to 20, B is equal to 2, and C is equal to 5, find A when B is equal to 14 and C. So let's find the equation. It says varies jointly with C. A varies jointly with B and C. And let's check our little slide here to see which one it is. It is a joint variation. So let's try to solve. The form for a joint variation is kxz. Let's substitute the values real quick. K, B, C. So yeah, this is what our equation will look like. Now number 2, let's substitute it with these values. We have 20, K, 2, and 5. 2 times 5, that's equal to 10. We're gonna basically multiply this, so we'll be having 10k. We're gonna be finding the formula of k. So basically, we're going to be dividing. 20 divided by 10 is 2. Here is step 3. Find A when B is equal to 14 and C is equal to 8. We now have our k value. Let's substitute all the values we have. 2, 14, 8. Just in case you forgot where we got to, it's basically from equation number 2. Now all we have to do here is that we're going to be multiplying. So 14 times 2 is 28. And then we have 28 times 28 times 8 is equal to 224. And the last thing we have to do is to write our answer in the sentence form. Answer. The value of A is 24. And this is how you can solve for joint and combined variations.